Hey guys, this is Nicole Scott,
And this is Sasha Pallenberg.
and we're going to talk about the latest flagship phones because we have pretty much all of them and been using them for the last couple of weeks, and I think we have to discuss this today.
We really do, because you and I have been going back and forth, and we have
Yeah.
actually different opinions on stuff. So, like, when we're writing up the reviews, we actually kind of debate, like, between the smartphones, and like, you want to give it an 8, I want to give it a 9. So we think that you guys really need to kind of enjoy our varying opinions on everything that's out there.
And trust me, it took me forever to get them all into my hand without dropping them.
I thought he was going to drop all of them.
Check it out. So Nicole, starting about the latest flagship, I mean, it all kind of started at Mobile World Congress. LG was the first one to
Yeah.
launch their new flagship device, the LG G5, which in my opinion is a huge and amazing evolution of the LG G4, which was a beautiful device.
I think that the G5 is inspirational in the industry overall. The fact that they went modular
Yeah.
kind of gives everyone this kind of like new benchmark
Yeah.
of like what's possible with a smartphone. Is it my favorite? It's not, but it's the one that I find the most inspiring.
I totally agree with you. Actually, I think it kind of reanimated the whole smartphone market
Yes.
since the very first launch of the iPhone
Yeah.
back in January 2007. For the very first time, this is like Project Ara finally
Yes.
meets mass production
Yes.
and usability and all of this. Plus, I love the fact that LG actually made the API open source for this, so third parties can come in, produce modules. Let's see if they will actually adopt this. But they could.
It's interesting because if they keep the G5 and the G6 connector the same, then there's actually an industry that can be built upon. But my issue, I guess, is that I like what they've done. This is a totally different direction, a bold move in a new direction. But having said that, the main competitor is the S7, and I
It
don't
truly is.
and I don't think that Samsung should be given props for fixing what they screwed up in the S6. Right?
Totally. I mean, come on, they're bringing the micro SD card slot back. Woo! Big deal.
But having said that, Samsung's refined the crap out of their Galaxy series, and so this is the very first time we have a module in a smartphone. So it's not as refined, it's not as elegant, the market's not as mature, and then we're seeing like a less than perfect experience because Samsung's had 2 years to build out
Yeah.
what they've been doing. So it's a little uneven, even though I think that this is industry leading.
You know what I think it's kind of unfair is that due to all the attention the Magic slot gets, people tend to forget about the cameras that are on the back because we're talking about dual cameras.
Yes.
There's not only a 60 megapixel camera on the back, which is already a kind of evolution of the camera from the LG G4, but they
Right.
also add an 8 megapixel wide angle one. I think it's like 135 degrees.
135 degrees, yeah.
And you know what? This is absolutely amazing. I'm
Yeah.
constantly using it.
Yeah.
And what I also love is this idea of having this picture-in-picture, so you can use the 60 megapixel one with this great camera interface and kind of have a picture in the wide angle 8
Yeah.
megapixel one. And
Exactly.
you can blur it out, you can make a fish out. The effects are fantastic. You can even use it while you're doing videos.
Yes.
You can actually switch between the cameras. Plus, the camera interface is absolutely amazing. This is kind of killing the idea of doing this panorama shot for me. I
Yeah.
don't need to do that
Oh,
anymore.
yeah.
Plus, this 135 degrees, I think it's kind of close to this point of view that we have as a human being,
Yeah,
right?
agreed.
It's like in between 125 and 145, if I'm not mistaken.
And for taking photos and sharing them on Instagram, this is actually like the perfect
Yeah.
camera, because like when you're taking a photo of a building, you just pop it into the wide angle, and then when you bring your photo into Instagram, the 1:1 ratio, you have like this really great layout.
Yeah.
For sharing it in a 1:1,
Absolutely.
right? Even though it's nice and wide. So I think for like social media and the way that people are really using their photos, this is the killer feature. This is the killer
There's
feature.
one thing that I don't like about it, and I wish they're gonna come out with a software update. It feels a little bit overexposed when you're shooting in a low light environment with the 60 megapixel camera. As soon as you're getting into the pro mode, right? Getting down with the ISO a little bit, right? It looks absolutely amazing. And I think that, you know what, when you use the pro mode, that this might be the best camera that is on the market
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
Not for snapshots, even
Yeah.
though that this got much faster,
Yeah.
much faster compared to the LG 4, which was for me a goddamn pain in the camera. Yeah.
So the interesting thing that I found over my review, because I took my time with this one because I love LG, like the G series, but what I actually discovered was the wide angle, the secondary camera actually has an aperture of 2.4
Yeah.
versus the aperture of 1.8. So when you start to like really play around in low light mode, you start to kind of see that maybe when it's on the wide angle, it isn't quite as good.
Yeah.
Right, but like you're right that there's definitely some software like overexposure happening in this kind of moment of compensation with the different apertures, I think. So I mean,
They've already had this on the G4,
Yeah.
right? And I thought they kind of learned out of this, you know, just move back a little bit, make it more natural looking.
Yeah.
And I've been taking, I think like 500 or 600 pictures with the G5, with the S7 Edge, with the new Huawei P9. So I'm sure that I can compare this, especially in a low light environment. But once again, as soon as you're getting into the pro mode, as soon as you play around with this phone and take your time,
yeah.
the image quality is absolutely amazing. But there's something else we need to talk about. A lot of people were complaining that this is, oh wait, LG fooled us. They said it's a full metal body. So there's a coating around this. And yes, for sure, this is a plastic coating. But this doesn't make the phone a plastic phone. I mean, when you look at your car, right, would you say because there is paint all over it that this is a car made of paint? You would never do that. Actually, some people really like that. I also saw some pictures on the internet that didn't look so good. Actually, people dropped it and it looked really, really
It
bad.
looks really bad.
First thing, if you're interested in this phone, first thing that you're gonna do is get a goddamn case for it. Get a wallet case, get a bumper case or whatever, get some protection foil on the front, and you're gonna love it. If you are really into, you know, taking great pictures with a phone, you might want to also opt in for the Camera Plus module, which in my opinion is great.
Is great, and it's very natural to use. Actually, there's a switch to kind of launch the camera, like which you initially think I just press the button to launch the camera, but once you kind of wrap your head around this is the interaction of it, it's actually pretty natural. But I think that anyone between the G5 and the S7, if you want to go for photography, I think that it's the clear choice.
Yeah.
Right. Definitely the G5.
This is the best.
The G5.
Well, okay.
Yeah. If you're into photography.
Exactly.
Really,
Exactly. Because if we would talk about cameras in general,
point and shoot,
and what also video. Especially in a low light environment. Once again, we are not huge friends of the video quality in a low light environment.
Or even like an indoor average lighting environment. It's like, it's noisy. Like in my review, you'll just see like there's like noise in the corners. But like if it's like good lighting and like, everything's good, it's obviously beautiful, but everything's always not perfect. So to me, the video quality kind of drops out. But if you're into photography, the option to go wide angle for sharing, for cropping, for doing all these things, this is the one. But if you're looking for like something that's superb in video as well in low light and takes a great no thinking, no messing around with the settings, all of that, it would be for me the S7.
I mean, this was the huge advantage that Apple had with the iPhone for many, many years, right? You just got the iPhone out of your pocket, you took like 5 snapshots like this in 10 seconds, and they all looked absolutely amazing. It kind of started to change a little bit when the Samsung Galaxy S6 came to the market, and the S6 Edge, and the S6 Edge Plus, and Note 5, and all of them. And now with the latest generation, which is the one that I have here, and actually this is my daily driver right now, so I switched over to the S7 Edge. The cool thing that I found out about the version that I can buy here in Taiwan is it's actually dual SIM. So whether you're going to put a SIM card, a nano SIM, and a micro SD card, or you're going to combine it with 2 nano SIMs, this is a dual SIM. The device is not only absolutely gorgeous, I think this is by far the most superior design that you can get in a smartphone, the most superior, you know, materials that they're using, the way it feels in your hand, right? Those edges here, those round edges. This is gorgeous.
And like between the G5 and the S7, the G5 has this like edge on the side.
Oh yeah.
Right, and it's kind of sharp and like
it
doesn't feel as natural and intuitive. But when you have this in your hand, they just know how to build a phone. And when you hold this in the iPhone feels fake.
If you compare this to the iPhone 6s Plus, the 6s Plus looks like a fake phone from China. Seriously, and it just tells you a lot about how they kind of lost the edge,
They did.
design-wise. The bezels are huge.
Yeah.
Listen, guys, it's not 2012 anymore.
No.
It is just so over. I'm a little bit scared about what Apple is doing in these days.
But to me, like I'm currently reviewing after the G5 the F1 Selfie Plus, and
That's a knockoff.
looks like it is exactly. Actually, it's not even a knockoff. It's like, oh, this is how the iPhone looks. This is what it should have looked like, and it feels better, and the camera is better, and the
bezels are thinner.
Bezels are thinner. Overall, the design and material quality feels better. So it's interesting that Oppo actually just like legitimately made an iPhone 6s clone and did it better than Apple.
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty much.
Well, they even put the better operating system on it. Oh, just, you know what, call me out in the comments. I'm getting it. It was all about to start a little bit of a flame war here. But you know what, let's stay with the, let's stay here with the Samsung. I love the battery life of it. A lot of people were complaining, actually. I'm a heavy user here, right? So I've unplugged this about 5 hours ago, and I'm at 50%. I've been listening to a lot of podcasts. We're just, you know, shooting some pictures, put them up on Instagram. So it's kind of nice. But once again, you know, this amazing display here, this was winning me over. It is the display, it is the design. Plus, once again, there's something about this camera, and this is
how fast it is.
How fast it is. It's a double click on the home button, and there you are, right? And you can go for your snapshot. So when you know, nothing is more frustrating when you try to catch this very precious moment, right? And you have to fiddle around with this goddamn camera, and you can't get it to start, and then it's gone.
Yeah.
It freaks me out all the time. So this is something that you can easily do with the S7 and the S7 Edge. It's a beautiful device.
Also, for me, the S7 Edge takes it over the G5 because it has basically an hour more of screen on time per charge.
That's true.
Essentially, right?
Absolutely.
Like,
we're talking about 800 milliamp hours ampere plus.
Yeah.
Plus, we are also talking about the superior Super AMOLED display.
Yeah.
You have to give it to Samsung.
Yeah.
You know what, guys? Remember the days when there were huge comment wars of, I think it was the Galaxy S2 and the iPhone 4, right? Where Apple introduced the Retina display, and Samsung had the first Super AMOLED display on the S2. And a lot of people were complaining about the pentametrics and that Super AMOLED is just so inferior, and Apple has Retina, and you can't even see a dot. Now, give me a break. What's the resolution of the 6S? What's the resolution of the 6S Plus? This is a 2K resolution, even though that I'm not a huge fan of this, and I'm fine with 1080p. But, I mean, the color saturation, the viewing angles, just look at the black, right? This is just the coolest display in the world. And there is a reason why Apple chose Samsung as a display manufacturer for the iPhone 8. There you go. So they won them over. Sorry, fanboys. No, let's end up all these flame wars. One last thing that I need to say about this is, once again, the camera. We've been talking about, if when you're into photography, you're gonna love the G5. But if you just want to take great pictures, right, in like a second or so, this is going to be your phone. If you don't want to fiddle around with the Pro mode, if you just want to go for auto, that's your phone. If you want to shoot great videos, that's your phone. This is overall the best camera that you can get, right? While when you're into photography, once again, I know I'm repeating myself, you might want to consider the G5. But we have more here on the table.
Which one are we going to go to next?
Let's go to this one, because this also got introduced at the MWC 2016. Actually, for the first time, that Xiaomi also launched their flagship phone outside of Beijing at the same time. So they had Hugo Barras over there in Barcelona, and that's a Xiaomi Mi 5. Once again, a price breaker. Yeah, no doubt about this. It kind of starts at around $300 for the 32 gigabyte version. This is the 64 gigabyte version. There will also be a Pro version with 128 gigabytes. And if you're going to buy this in China, you're getting a Snapdragon 820, you're getting 4 gigabytes of RAM, and all of this will be $375 with 128 gigabytes of internal storage. Actually, Xiaomi has a shitload a patent on this, on the design. A lot of people were complaining, saying, "Oh my God, they kind of copied the curved back." No, they didn't, because they already used this on the Note.
Yeah, they've been using it on the Note.
Actually,
for like
Samsung copied Xiaomi on this. What I love about this device, how thin it is, how light it is. I think 129 grams. You're still getting a 3,000 milliampere hour battery.
It's very strong, the battery, actually. You can, if you're a medium to light user, you're easily 2 days. If you're a heavy user, all day, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, this morning I actually I woke up and someone was asking me, you know, they're buying a phone here. And I actually was just like, you know what? I would go for the Mi5. If you're looking for something in like the $300 range, they did an excellent job with the build quality. The camera's really good. The battery life is really good. Xiaomi's really nailed it on the Mi5 with the price point.
Great display.
Great display. There's just so many things about the phone that are really, really good for something that's just over $300.
Exactly, and especially if you are someone who can't really deal with the phablet and you're more of like a 5-inch category.
Yeah.
So for this 5-inch category, the display, the screen to body ratio is just absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Look
really thin bezels on the side, 5.1 inches. So if you do have like average size hands, you can definitely use it with one hand. So this to me is the perfect small form factor a smartphone. So in like the 5.1 inch range, if you're looking for something on a budget, this would be my go-to.
And especially if you're on a budget, right?
Yeah.
This seriously, there is no other device on the market that you can compare to the Xiaomi Mi5 for what you're getting for your money.
Yeah.
A lot of people are actually complaining or were asking us, what about updates on these China phones? To be honest, Xiaomi and the MIUI, they are so ahead of the pack when it comes to update.
Yeah.
The way they're implementing the latest security patches into Android is absolutely amazing. Actually, you're almost getting a weekly update with Xiaomi, and this is absolutely amazing.
So to be honest, the international version that most of you will be buying will be getting less updates than the Chinese version, because they were just like, whoa, this is too many updates. It's just too many. So like Xiaomi's actually slowing it down, because it's almost too annoying when you have so many updates, but weekly updates are still okay, right?
So we got our version from Trading Shenzhen, which is a shop run by some Germans in Shenzhen, and they're constantly providing us with the latest China phones.
Yeah.
So if you need
one of these and looking to buy one, Trading Shenzhen is where you should head. Which one should we go to next?
Oh, well, next should be the Huawei P9, which got introduced exactly almost a week ago.
Okay.
I just came back from London and I played around with it. For the very first time, Huawei teamed up with a camera manufacturer, which is Leica. Leica, a German manufacturer, of course I like that, is iconic. Leica is iconic in terms of how the pictures look like that people are taking with the Leica camera. It's just this kind of weird perspective and angle that Leica camera photographers are taking. They're not even looking through this little kind of, how's it called? This focus.
The viewfinder?
The viewfinder, right? They're just taking pictures and they're not all straight, right? So they always have a specific angle. Sometimes very experimental. Not sure if this is meant to be experimental, that they now have a dual cam also on the back, but I can tell you a little bit about the outcome of this, which is absolutely fantastic, because one camera is only shooting monochrome. And when you're into monochrome photography, this might be the phone that you're looking for, because basically there's also no other phone out there with a monochrome camera. But
That's so random.
I know it's random, but I tell you what, when you look at the atmosphere that you're taking with the monochrome camera, it is different. And I'm not talking about taking a picture and then using a black and white or a monochrome filter. That's something different. That's a different quality that this phone provides to you. I love the look and feel of it. It's very slim. It feels warm. It feels round. It feels like a really nice device, especially compared to the P8, which was a little bit more edgy at that time.
A little square.
Unfortunately, after all this testing that I did with it, it felt a little bit short on the camera. I mean, it's not a bad camera. It's a really, really good camera. But the S7 and the G5 definitely have the edge over this.
Yeah, this is actually the first day that I've got hands-on with it, so I don't have
Yeah.
that much to contribute on this one.
Well,
But,
there's one thing that you have to keep in mind with the dual camera. You can, I mean, it can recognize depth, right? So you can do this post-processing, blurring out the background and on. LG did this already with the M8.
Yes.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
those were the days with the
Yeah.
ultra pixel cameras that they had.
And on the Dell Venue 8.
On the Dell Venue 8, like, those are the things that you're doing on a tablet, right?
Right, totally.
So it is a beautiful device. But to me, yes, it is their flagship device in this kind of 5-inch category. But still, if I would compare this to the Mi 5, S7, the G5, it's not there. It is a
Yeah.
fantastic phone, but it's not there. So I think they have to lower the price.
Which it becomes very interesting because if you are a really big Huawei fan, the P8s would be much cheaper now, and maybe just a steal of a phone.
That's true.
Yeah.
Or you might want to go for the Mate 8.
Or the Mate
which
8.
is which is
But
absolutely amazing.
But it's a significantly bigger phone.
It is huge.
Yeah.
It is 6-inch.
It's a big phone.
Well, it's as big as an iPhone 6s Plus.
It's true, but either you're a small form factor person or you're kind of a phablet big form factor person, right? So
That's true.
we're kind of in like the one-handed zone here. Well, actually, no, not if we go to the F1 Selfie Plus.
Yeah.
This is like we were saying before, a direct iPhone competitor, but they did it better. The bezels are better. The overall it's like a much tighter package
Yeah.
than what the iPhone has, and the camera is better, to be honest.
Yeah.
So I mean, Oppo is like Oppo's really big in Southeast Asia. I don't think their presence in Europe and North America are quite as strong as over here, but we're looking at maybe like a $300 difference between this
Right.
and the iPhone. Right, so this is actually better hardware, better camera, better operating system, and it's like a
You're getting crucified in the comments, I tell you that.
but between like $200 and $300 difference for something like this. So definitely something to consider, right? If we're looking for phones that are kind of on a budget. And then of course,
Last but
last but not least,
The HTC 10.
yeah.
First of all, I was a little bit underwhelmed when I saw the
Mm-hmm.
first pictures because I thought, oh, so this is like the 4th generation of the M7.
Yeah.
Now that I can hold it in my hands and now I can see this black version, I
Yeah,
think it
the
looks
silver is
gorgeous.
ugly, but
The silver's
yeah,
ugly.
the silver's ugly. Like it looks like they were like, oh, good enough. We'll just stop, with this edge around the back. But on the black, and I've also seen the red. It looks and feels really good. And to me, somebody who's a bit of a destroyer of phones, this for me would be the most durable phone out there. Like
they were really-
it feels like I could throw it against a brick wall and it would.
It's
survive.
way more compact. They were really working on the bezels, especially
Yeah.
on the top and bottom bezels.
Yeah. So the boom sound is now with the top ear speaker, and then it has the bottom firing, where they've actually put like different like bass or EQ elements into either side to kind of keep
Yeah.
that boom sound dynamic, and it does have amazing sound.
It does have
Right, it
amazing
does have
sound.
amazing sound.
Let's check it out. That is pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, like you can push it up, and then also the other interesting thing about it is that because they were so focused on audio, they actually worked directly with Qualcomm to kind of like actually remove internal parts to create like a more clean path, like internally for audio.
So, Nicole, what's the takeaway here? What in general? Once again, we've been constantly referring to Apple, and I want to bring it up again because, in my opinion, Apple really lost the edge over the smartphone market. So this S7 Edge feels so superior in any way. Even the G5, when I see the overall device and the innovation that they put into it with the Magic Slot, what they're doing with the dual camera. When I look at this HTC M10, sorry, I said M10, the HTC 10. I still have to play around with it a little bit more, but what they're doing to the boom sound, significantly improved camera right now. Well, it just couldn't get any worse compared to the HTC
Well,
One.
the thing is, the camera on the HTC 10 isn't as good as the G5 or the S7, but it's still a good camera. It's
Yeah,
competitive.
yeah,
right?
yeah, it is
I would
absolutely.
say it's a competitive camera.
Yeah.
but it's not as good as the S7 or the G5. And that's not like a bad thing, but just because it's not the best, it's still good.
I mean, we've been talking about this kind of iPhone 6 knockoff, right? Which feels much better.
Feels much
than
better.
an iPhone 6. We've been talking about the Xiaomi Mi 5, which costs a fraction of
Yeah.
an iPhone.
Yeah.
It's, in my opinion, especially when you're getting the Pro version with the ceramic body, which is one of the hardest materials you can get. This is on this kind of scale of the hardest materials. It is at an 8. Steel is at a 6, a diamond is a 10. So just to give you an idea what Xiaomi is building here, it looks absolutely gorgeous. And it only costs maybe, the 128 gigabyte version is like a little bit more than a third of a comparable iPhone, right? Which is insane. And then we have this Huawei P9, which is just bringing the P series of Huawei on a new level and finally teaming up with a camera manufacturer. All these devices are absolutely amazing. 2016's been an amazing year for new phones so far, and therefore, I think it's all about naming our favorite here. Of course, I have one here. It has
daily driver.
The daily driver. There's a reason why it's my daily driver, because this is the best smartphone that you can get right now. I said it before, it's the best phablet, but I also have to say that this is the best smartphone overall. If, you know what, you don't care about how much you want to spend, the S7 Edge is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I agree. Best all around smartphone, it would definitely be the S7 series. Best photography phone, I would say the G5.
Yes. When you're a photographer, or when you're into these kind of pro mode features and you like the idea of having a wide angle camera plus with the camera plus module, well, think about it. You're on a day out, right? You only want to take pictures, you only want to take videos. You're combining it with the camera plus module. You have 400 milliampere hour battery in there, dedicated buttons for video, dedicated buttons for the camera, and a little wheel to zoom, right? And it feels like a little bit like a compact camera, like what Nokia already did with the Lumia 1020 case. So then I would go for the G5. Best budget phone, well, no doubt about it.
Small form factor budget phone,
I wouldn't even say it's kind of hard to say that this is a budget phone, because it feels so inferior when you're saying this, because it's not. This is a flagship. This is a proper flagship device that will still be a flagship device in 2 years from now.
If we're gonna call something a flagship killer, this would be it. Right?
Yeah.
To like steal OnePlus's.
To be honest, I think this is the real OnePlus 2. Right? This is what OnePlus wanted to do with the second generation of the One. This is the flagship killer, definitely. And then we still have this kind of phablet.
If you want an iPhone knockoff,
Yeah.
you know what I mean. Like if you're after some, like, and this is a strong selfie phone, right? It has like a big aperture on the front. It takes like really, really excellent selfies. And you know, I kind of have like a pinkish version, I think, or a gold version or something like this.
Right.
But I mean, if you're looking for a phablet that is budget and takes great photos, the F1 Selfie Plus, I think, is definitely a great option. Definitely.
And then last but not least, we have the Huawei, which in my opinion is a very, very unique phone with these two cameras on the back, and especially that one is only shooting black and white or monochrome pictures. Plus, I can only recommend to pick it up once and to hold it in your hands, right? Because the design is absolutely gorgeous. I would actually, just place it second right after the Samsung S7 Edge for its design. The way it feels, the way it looks like, I think it is gorgeous. A couple of people were complaining about the back, there are also different color versions. There's a Mystic Silver and a Rose Gold and whatnot. This is a really, really nice phone, but I still think that they need to come down with the price a little bit. So, huge roundup of all the latest devices that we have, and I think, guys, now it's up to you. So, if you have any comments, and especially if you want to let us know you're looking for a new device, if you've already considered one of these that we were just showing you, or if you have a completely different opinion, which obviously is going to happen, just leave us a comment down below. Tell us a little bit about your experience with these phones or what you're looking for in a phone. And yeah, because we really want to know what you like.
All right. So this is Sasha Pallenberg.
This is Nicole Scott, and that was our huge roundup of all the latest flagship devices. Thanks for watching.